First up, the number one quarterback riser of the week for me was Justin Fields. Goes 3 for 3, 129 yards, 2 touchdowns. A great debut. Now, Wolf, you're probably like, he only threw 3 yards of average depth of target. His receivers did everything, and that's the whole point here. He never had a weapon like DJ Moore before, and this is opening up so much of the offense. I loved, in addition, to see those linemen, how athletic they looked getting downfield. What a strong screen game we had there for Justin Fields. That's just a whole different thing where he had to do everything himself last season. To have just a little bit of the load lighten because he has these great yak options. DJ Moore, of course, but then also Khalil Herbert doing a ton of work, over 50 yards after the catch, 56-yard touchdown reception. That's just stuff. And Fields himself saying, when you have guys that can take 3-yard pass, 50 yards, that makes my job easier. Always good to have playmakers like that on the team. We talked about how this could really be like the Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown light version, the diet version of that this year. And it already is looking like a great connection between those two and the whole offense opening up because they now have a true alpha. Great to see for Justin Fields, who, yes, he was already ahead of Lamar Jackson for me. I can't bump him ahead of Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, or Pat Mahomes, but quarterback 4 is where he has been for me. It's clearly where he's going to stay after a performance like this, and it definitely makes me feel that much better about him threatening to be the QB1 in 2023. Now, after him, maybe the biggest single riser for quarterbacks for me was Derek Carr. And I'm not sitting here saying I love Derek Carr, but I think I did discredit his upside a little bit just because of the past couple of years. Saints, very run-heavy, very slow, just a disgusting overall offense. Preseason week 1, though, this new Carr era, they just go marching down the field. 12 plays, 80-yard drive. Carr himself, 6 for 8, 70 yards, and a touchdown, just carving up the defense, taking shots downfield to Michael Thomas, who looked good. Juwan Johnson, 2 for 29, a nice playmaking tight end. Great rapport there. And then you remind yourself, Pete Carmichael, he was with Sean Payton for all of those years, learned under him. I don't know that we should just discredit this guy right off the bat after a couple bad seasons with bad, horrendous quarterback play. Bad would be kind. So now that they have their guy, Derek Carr, who's looked very jacked in those pictures that you've probably seen, he looks like he's in shape. He's fired up. He's ready to go. And they're talking about how this offense is finally back to where we can just pile it on to people again and no one's going to be stopping us type of thing. So I don't know it's Drew Brees 2.0 or anything of that nature, but I did discredit Carr as just kind of like a decently floored, no ceiling type of guy. I think this showed there can be some real upside when you have Alvin Kamara looking much better. We'll talk about him later. When you have Michael Thomas back and healthy, of course, we know Chris Olave, one of the best young receivers in the game. With those weapons, with a play caller who's been elite in the past, I know it was Sean Payton, but he learned under the right mind, Pete Carmichael, so hopefully he absorbed a thing or two. I actually bumped him up, Derek Carr, to quarterback 20, now ahead of riskier guys like Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, those rookies we don't know much about. Give me the sure thing and Derek Carr if I need one. Now, another quarterback who I'm drafting even ahead of Derek Carr right now, my quarterback 19, he's going as the quarterback 23 in early drafts. That is Brock Purdy. Didn't play, and that's part of the big reason why he's a riser. He is by far, all reports, the #1 exclusive quarterback, taking every single rep with the ones. This is no competition. It's between Sam Darnold and Trey Lance for who is going to carry Brock Purdy's water bottle to him in the huddle. Reports are they've been turning up the aggressiveness as well in year 2, feeling comfortable with Brock Purdy, with what he's doing right now. And you love to hear that. Already you got the high floor of a Kyle Shanahan offense. Jimmy Garoppolo leading the yards in attempt for multiple seasons, even though his ADOT was so low. That's because this offense is so great at generating the yak, yards after the catch, looking phenomenal. Opportunity here for Brock Purdy, who threw multiple touchdowns in every single start last year in the regular season, only dipped below 18 fantasy points once. Nice floor, and if they take that aggressiveness up a notch, and you got Ayuk, Debo, Kittle, Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield, those weapons are absurd. The play calling is known as the best in the NFL. Purdy just has to be okay, and he's going to smash the quarterback 23 ADP. I have him, like I said, 4 spots above that in that quality QB2, low-end QB1. I could honestly be okay with Brock Purdy if he's paired with another guy in that tier. That is my #1 guy. But he goes, 5 rounds later than Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers? I like Brock Purdy just as much as those guys, and I certainly like him more with that discount. Jordan Love coming out, I mentioned him as a riskier guy, but looking great. 7 for 10, 46 yards, 1 TD and 2 drives. Most of those missions were deep shots, which I like that they're opening up the offense a little bit more. Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, both seem to be rolling. These young sophomore receivers, great rapport with those two. all reports are it's been the same exact offense throughout camp. They're moving on from Rodgers as if nothing has changed. That's what we like to hear. You got to remember it was still a run-heavy scheme even with the league MVP at quarterback. So unless LaFleur just decides, let's go nuts, air this thing out, F it mode despite Rodgers, I still think the ceiling's a little bit capped here, but it looks like the talent is definitely there with Jordan Love in these early glimpses of camp, this early preseason week 1 action. It was solid. Russ Wilson, kind of a riser. This is a mixed bag here. I don't know exactly where to rank this one. Awful to start. The statue in the pocket. The line looked atrocious. He was under pressure all night. They even played it deep into the second quarter, which is nuts in a preseason game. But Sean Payton, I respect it. They want to get this offense rolling, get Russ's real feel for what's going on. And it was a good decision because after a real couple shaky drives, he puts together a very nice 4th and final drive, Russ Wilson, and it showed off plenty of those staples that we're used to from Sean Payton, getting receivers like Jerry Jeudy wide open and tons of space, and he zips himself into the end zone. You love to see that. So it was a 6-play, 57-yard drive with that 21-yard touchdown pass to Jerry Jeudy. So Russ finishes 7 for 13, 93 yards, 1 touchdown, 102 quarterback ranking. It was just a solid drive to get your feet a little bit ready to maybe jump back into that Russ Wilson pool. I don't know that I will. I don't like the guy. I love Sean Payton. I'm trying to see if I can balance those two things out. I don't typically land him because I prefer Brock Purdy straight up, and Purdy goes 3 rounds later. But it was promising to see for Russ Wilson at least those weapons there with him. Now, Sam Howell looked like a shaky start for him as well. Those first 2 possessions under duress a lot, yet he played really cool, calm, collected, and really had a nice, strong 3rd drive to cap off his first preseason action as he stakes his claim to become the football team's quarterback 1. 9 of 12, 77 yards and a touchdown. Like I said, a little frenetic, a little bit under pressure, but he showed that mobility, the ability to really just extend those plays. And ultimately, he had a bad drop by John Bates. He could have gone 10 of 12. That was a 15-yarder, almost 100 yards had that one got caught. He also had a nice 8-yard run on a 3rd and 6, picking up the first with his legs. That's what we really like about the guy is there's some Konami light upside. He's had a touchdown rushing in all the preseason games he started and in his only lone game of action last year ran one in. So there's definitely some TD upside, some running mobility upside here. In my projections, he came out as a fringe Sam Howell, top 15 guy, largely due to that Bieniemy bump, to that rushing upside. This game confirmed why he came out so high. You also get a pick coming for Jacoby Brissett, so maybe he's distancing himself a little bit here. Sam Howell, an impressive first showing for the guy, an upside quarterback too that you can take in the last round or maybe just flag for the waiver wire later on. And then I'll toss out there Kenny Pickett, looking much improved as a sophomore so far. He had 1 drive, but 6 of 7, 70 yards and a touchdown. The ball was coming out fast. He looked like a much better decision maker, and it was just pinpoint accurate every single time. The only miss was a throwaway, a quality decision by Kenny Pickett as he got a bunch of people in his face. Really impressive performance for him, for Deontay Johnson, for George Pickens. When we get to receiver, we'll cover those guys, but it does look like Kenny Pickett is ready to take a big leap. Worried about how run-heavy they continue to say they're going to be, but if Pickett's playing this impressively, we know Tomlin in the past has loved to air it out, so I loved this performance for him. Baker Mayfield seems to be cementing himself as the starter here for the Bucs, and that could be a good thing. 8 of 9, 63 and a touchdown, despite no Mike Evans, despite no Chris Godwin, no Rachaad White. He still engineered a quality showing here. Now, Kyle Trask will start the next game, so we can't lock in Mayfield, but this is just a promising development for everybody involved in this Tampa Bay offense. If Mayfield can be just serviceable, they do love to chuck it under Todd Bowles. It's been they had Tom Brady, so I get that too, but ultimately, this will just be nice to know Mike Evans and Chris Godwin won't be completely destroyed, even if you're not drafting Mayfield himself. And the only injury or down note so far in camp was Joe Burrow. He's going to be fine at this point. He's actually got the sleeve off his calf. Everything's looking okay. But I just figure I mention it because a lot of you people might just be coming back for the first time this offseason. What's going on in camp? I had to mention Joe Burrow did get hurt. To me, it's not going to change anything. He's definitely going to be out there for week 1. He's throwing, he's running. Draft as you normally would, but I just wanted to make sure that does not go overlooked at this point. What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.